Hello, and welcome to Watch What Crappens, a podcast for all the crap we love to talk about on your bravs. I'm Ronnie, that's Ben. Hi, Ben. How are you?
Hi, Ronnie. How are you?
Well, I've got bad news. There's only 2 days left to stream the Golden Crappies. Get your tickets at watchwhatcrappens.com. But good news is we are on tour. We have an insane march coming up for the Mounting Hysteria tour. We will be in your city very soon, everybody. Get ready to come, okay? You ready to hear the cities for March? It's going to be crazy.
Yes.
Hope you're holding on to something. Okay.
I am.
We are going to Cincinnati, Minneapolis, Toronto, Charlotte, Atlanta, and Washington, D.C., followed by Philadelphia, all in March. So go get your tickets and other cities at watchwhatcrappens.com. Also, we're doing traders recaps over on our Patreon. Patreon is also where you get videos like this one that we're on today. If you want them right when they're released, be a Patreon member. If you want them a week later, get them for free over on YouTube. What do I care? Okay. We've got a huge library over there. So go watch and watch all day, night. Ben, it's so good to see you and have you back home again.
It's great to be here. Great to see you also, especially to recap this episode of Beverly Hills, which, I don't know, I thought it was absolutely amazing. I thought this was just like a phenomenal episode. I was riveted the entire time. I mean, it felt like watching like a play. You know, Lady Southern Belle comes back home from Beverly Hills to deal with the death of her father and her mother, who's a tough battle axe. You know, it was both like, I was like crying, I was laughing, I was cringing. It really had, everything.
Yeah, it was a dark episode, a lot of darkness here. And there's a lot of talk of suicide and stuff like that. So if that triggers you, okay, then turn this off. Okay. If you didn't watch the episode and don't know what it is, there will be a lot of talk of that today. Not a lot of jokes about it, but a lot of talk probably about it because it happened. Okay. It happened on the show. So here we go. We are still in Augusta, Georgia. And the episode I like is just called Mind Your Business. They didn't even try to get clever with that one.
No, they're like, let's just quote Reba's big moment. So, God, this episode was so good. Like, this was a Sutton extravaganza. I just am so excited by this. Okay, so Sutton is, she's putting on makeup and everything. She's like, I've got to put on my makeup on. Where have I taken off my diamonds? And they're all just getting ready. Kyle comes in. She went out for a jog in the morning. She returns to the house. It's 11:18, and Sutton's mother Reba is in the kitchen holding a blue watering can, just standing there. And Kyle comes back in, and she's like panting, and she's like, and Reba's like, "You've been running?" She goes, "I've been running. I mean, I have a bone. By the way, I have a bone to pick with your daughter. She told me to go out of the house and make a left, and then go to the left on Henry, and there was no Henry."
She's like, "Well, Henry's back there, stupid. In fact, you'd go to the cemetery the way you were going. You'd run to China and back without seeing it. But don't ever go again this late. You'll die in this heat. When I used to do it, it was 5:30 or 6:30 in the morning. You lazy, simpering fool." She's like, "Jeez." Also, I have to say, when Sutton was in her room, and I think that every child who grew up in the South might have thought this, but Sutton's like, "Where are my diamonds?" And she's looking around her room, and I was like, oh God, in 5 minutes she's going to be blaming the maid. I just want to see this play out. I've seen it play out before, and I just want to see it play out again. But it didn't, and I was actually really disappointed. I really thought I was going to get some justice. So I thought I was going to get some cleaning lady justice on this, but I never got it. And I'm very, very offended.
It seemed like it was going to go that way. Reba, the best part about Reba is that she does have kind of like the most stereotypical Southern drawl. Like, it's slow, it's rounded, it's lilting. And so it just makes everything that she's saying seem more evil. Not that if you're evil, if you're from the South or if you have a Southern accent, it's just that like, it's that thing where someone sort of is smiling with a slow Southern accent where you can tell they hate you, but they're being nice to your face. And it's just like the nicer they are, the more lilty their voice becomes, the more evil the undertone is. And her voice is really lilty. So she's like, Kyle, I am very strong mentally, and I blame that on my father. I was also his favorite child, so he taught me how to be very strong and independent, something clearly you never learned in your life with your 11 a.m. jogging.
Well, what sign are you? Stop. No,
and also yield.
Also caution. Many, many signs, actually. No, I meant like astrologically. Oh, the Satan chart? Well, on that, I suppose I'm a Cancer, but I'm not a typical Cancer. I come with no warning. I spread for no reason, and I get you quick, bitch.
I told this to my friend. I'm not a nurturer. And she laughed. And Kyle goes, really? You're not a nurturer?
You're Kyle, really? You're not? You're not a nurturer? Like, no. So then Avi comes in. He's like, hi, Miss Reba. You'll be joining us for brunch. And she's like, brunch? I thought we were having breakfast.
Well, it turned into brunch. By the way, Avi hates Reba. Like his disdain, his hatred for Reba is so thinly veiled every time they're on screen together. It's uncomfortable. Like it's kind of amazing.
There's zero veil. There is zero veil on it. Yeah, he is not veiling it at all. He's like, I don't have to put up with your stupid homophobic ass. You're not my mother. Witch.
She's like, who brought this homosexual into my household? So then,
and she just, she drips with it too. She's like, he goes, well, she says, brunch, I thought we were having breakfast. And he goes, well, it's turned into brunch. And she just looks at Kyle and she's like, I see that.
And then she looks to her watch as well. She doesn't have a watch on. She goes, well, I don't have my watch, but my freckles tell me everyone here is running late. It's not my fault we can't have breakfast. So
I'm looking at my wrist and I'm looking up at you, and all I can see is it's cock gobbler o'clock. So get the girls down here. Mama's hungry.
So Avi's like, well, okay, would you want to go get dressed and come back? Which is so insulting, by the way. And he's like, which I think he did on purpose. And she's like, why am I getting dressed? Well, we're having a proper brunch. Well, I'm fully dressed right now. As a homosexual, I thought you would have understood the value of good Southern fashion.
And he's like, okay, I just thought you might want to fluff up a bit. Fluffing's illegal here. Try it and you'll be in prison. So... She goes, I don't need to do that, but I'll see you in a few minutes. When you get to my age, you no longer groom yourself. You groom a dog with very long hair. Please excuse me. So she leaves.
Seriously. that dog.
I mean, when we see the mom's dog, I'm like, oh my God. You see, everybody has a soft spot. And that dog also looks terrified. When she's like, I'll be back, Cookie, or whatever the dog's name is, the dog's just like, please don't. Please fall. It just keeps looking to the stoop like, please fall. Please.
It also makes you realize what Sutton's childhood was like, because you know the way that like Reba combs that dog's hair is the way she would comb Sutton's hair. All right, Sutton, now you lay here. I'm going to make you pretty. I'm just going to comb your hair. Now stop moving so much. So Garcelle comes down the staircase and so she says hi to everyone and everything. And Avi is checking on Grits because he doesn't want to burn them. And they're just making some chit chat, just general chit chat about like arriving. So anyway, Garcelle, they're still saying hi. Okay. She doesn't want to mess up. She wants to have a conversation with Reba. That's basically the gist of this moment.
Well, yeah, basically. But Cheryl, the housekeeper, is also there. And Cheryl also wants this woman to die, which is so funny. So Garcelle's like, okay, I'll help you guys set up. And he's like, well, okay, let's do this. But, you know, we don't want to rush Sutton because we don't want to mess with the... He starts doing like shaky hands and he's like, the chakras. We don't want to mess with the chakras. And she goes, oh God, please, not today. Right. So then meanwhile, Kyle and Cheryl's just like, don't make me talk to fucking Reba today. I'm telling you now, don't make me talk to that witch today. So then we go up to Kyle and Sutton, and Kyle's like, hey, Sutton, I was talking to your mom. She's so great. As someone with a mom who fed somebody nails on a date to get revenge, let me just say, I get it. Sutton's like, well, she's very interesting, I suppose.
This really must speak to how tough Big Kathy was, because if Kyle is like dealing with Reba and being like, she's such a sweetheart, it's like, oh man, your baseline is so skewed right now. Yeah. But also like I would, Reba is much nicer to Kyle, which is notable. She's much friendlier. She's much more open, which has all sorts of layers of implications, So, because it's like in some way she can get an advocate out of Kyle. And then also there's just of course, she's just going to be nicer to Kyle, like the white pretty lady who comes in and, Reba's like, oh, hi there. I mean, that's what the internet was pretty much all saying over the past week. Let's not.
Yeah. And I agree. I definitely felt that after the first episode. This one, I didn't feel like she was nice to Kyle. I think she talked to Kyle like you're a fucking moron. But I do think that she would be, nicer to Kyle because of, both racist reasons and also because because she knows that Kyle and Sutton hate each other deep down. Mm-hmm. She knows that Kyle's mean to Sutton. So I think part of her is just like, oh, this girl's on my team. Whereas
she also knows
an advocate for Sutton. So she's going to shut her down immediately,
What I do get the sense of is that Reba, over the course of the episode, gets an appreciation of how much of an idiot Kyle is. Because I don't think that Reba likes to deal with idiots. I think she starts to realize that Garcelle is the smart one. And she starts to realize that Kyle is actually the dumb one.
Yes. But also Reba's one of those people who, as I've read the same comments as you have on the internet, and I'm not going to argue with them because we know the history of the South, and especially when Reba goes into her like, well, back in World War II, it's like, okay, so it's like from a different time. So I'm not even going to argue with any of that. One thing I will say about Reba is that she is a hater. Period. She hates all of these people. I don't think there's one person on this show that she likes. She even hates her own grandkid. She's like, that fucking weirdo. Do I have to sleep in his room? So
this is fair. This is a fair point. She's an equal opportunity hater.
Yeah, she just hates everybody. So in that way, she's fair. I don't know if she's fair and equitable in any other way, but in the hatred department, she hates them all.
Yeah. So Kyle, of course, does not pick up on any of this. And she's like, whoa, wow, your mom's so great. And I understand more about her just in the little conversation that I had, which is, I think, Kyle's way of bragging. Like, I made a breakthrough with your mom. And so Son's like, well, what did you learn? Oh, well, she had a very tough dad and he taught her to be strong. And she told me that she's not a nurturer. And Son's like, she said that? You got that out of her? Well, I mean, she's aware of that. Like, and how long was it? By the way, how long was your dad not well for? She's like, well, I noticed it when I was like 25 or 26, but Sutton is still like reeling that her mom just like had a moment of self-awareness right in front of Kyle, but that like clearly Sutton could never pry out of her own mother.
Well, it's also a moment of just someone not from the South being there, because people who aren't from the South don't have the same rules of not speaking, like, so how do you feel? What's your sign? What do you like? What do you like and you don't like? People, you're not used to talking about feelings like that. So Sutton's like, wow, how'd you get this out of my mother? I asked her. It's like, oh, how dare you? How gauche. So Sutton tells us that she was in her 20s when she got the call that she needs to come home. And it was surprising because she didn't understand how her father, who was their rock, could be starting to break. And I guess that she's talking about his mental illness and depression and stuff. And she talks about how they put him in the hospital twice. And Kyle goes, really? I didn't know that. Because you don't fucking listen, Kyle.
I did not know that. Kyle, we know this.
And even I knew that, Kyle.
On. And then she's like, what was going on with him? I'm like, Kyle, can't you read between the lines? So Sutton's like, talking about how he was in a depressive state and they wound up putting him on drugs and then he was on sleeping pills and
he was on those drugs and Kyle goes, for depression? No,
no,
Kyle,
for erectile dysfunction.
Yeah, for his dick, Kyle. Jesus.
Kyle is so useless in these situations. It's actually kind of hilarious. Like, it actually makes me like Kyle more because she plays the role of Rose Nyland. So then Sutton is like, talks about how he had chronic depression and then he was on pills to regulate everything. And we see all these photos and we see young Sutton. It's like this is sad to watch, right? Because we know the tragic end. And she talks about how he'd be on and off them for years and he would self-medicate with alcohol and talk a lot about like suicidal ideations and but he never went to therapy. So he had this disjointed treatment of just like pills but no therapy, which is really not a wise, way to go forward.
Yeah, it's a scary way to go forward. And it's a way that a lot of people take now, which is also terrifying, So she's basically talking about the self-medication and stuff. And he went through this for 6 full years before he passed away. And she says he shot himself in December 20th and December 22. Sorry, was when he killed himself. And it's interesting because it's almost like she's making the choice of how she words it because we word it differently now. We say like he he passed
died by suicide.
Yeah, died, stuff like that. It's like he killed himself, So there's a lot there with her. And Kyle goes, well, you're lucky to have your mom. And she's like,
thanks for your toxic positivity.
Sutton just goes, yeah. I don't think I've ever heard her sound more like Clint Eastwood. She was just like, yeah.
And then we cut to Reba. I mean, this is all fascinating, right? Because we see Reba is this hardened woman who's went through this massive trauma, and like she's just cold and stone, she's ossified and just like locked down, and now she's just mean. And so Reba's like, she's just hectoring Avi about his making the grits. And she's like, how many minutes had the grits been in there? An hour. And he's like, could you tell me? I mean, can I take it out? I mean, does that look good to you? I mean, you're the grits queen around here, bitch. And she's like, oh, well, all you're doing is heating it up. You do realize that, right? You stupid homosexual idiot.
He's like, yeah, well, I don't want to overcook them. And she's like, well, you don't want dry grits. Turn it off. And he goes, well, that's what I asked, but okay. She goes, what are these forks for? And he's like, if someone wants to cut a slice of cake. And she's like, okay. Word someone's going to take a piece out of your cakey. But I mean, look, Reba's mean, okay? And I get that she's off-putting, but don't fuck with grits, man. Are you heating them up, or are you? Part of me's on her side. I'm like, don't fuck with the grits.
She's not necessarily wrong here. She's like, look, all you're doing is heating them up. Why are you asking so many questions? Why have they been in there for an hour? Put them in for 20 minutes and take them out. That's all you have to do.
Yeah. So then Garcelle joins, and the good thing about grits is you can just always add more cream, y'all. Okay. Yeah. So Garcelle joins them, and so he's like, so what am I making you? And she goes, well, what do you have? You live here. And he's like, well, would you like... She's just like torturing Avi, which is so funny. So then Garcelle's like, how are you? You look good. And she goes, you look wonderful. It's like, wow, that was the nicest thing Reba said.
No. She didn't say, except she didn't say it like that. Sorry to no and you, but they were... Reba is like so angry at Avi right now. She's like just staring at Avi, and she's like, well, I don't want to drink that. Because Avi's like, do you want a vodka lemon? She's like, I don't want that. And Garcelle is standing next to Reba and goes, you look great. And she's like, well, I don't want, and you look great too, honey. Anyway, what are you going to make me drink? It was like, okay, let me give you a little, like, yeah, you look wonderful.
Well, would you like a vodka lemonade? She goes, no. What else you got? He's like, I could do a Bloody Mary. She goes, definitely. I can definitely do that. So Garcelle asks how she sleeps. And she's like, well, I was just telling Avi I don't like that ice. How would you sleep being served the wrong ice? Jesus Christ.
It's very Heather Dubrow. There's multiple ice options in this kitchen. So, and then Garcelle's like, let me just say this. Apple tree. No. So then we get, of course, a montage of Sutton being totally demanding to all her friends over all the years, which, of course, is, what we love about her. And then Garcelle says that, with Reba and Sutton, they're both like a little awkward, but somehow lovable. So she... I
love Garcelle's that they ended the montage with Sutton being like, plastic hangers? We don't like this. So they ended with a mommy dearest thing with Sutton, and then cut back to her mommy dearest.
It's time for a commercial. It's time for a Crappens commercial.
Garcelle's like, so you're still working as a therapist. Interesting. Tell me, do you use this move a lot? Mm-hmm. 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 It's my favorite. It's a little scrunch of the eyebrows. I've played a therapist.
Might I suggest something that you could add into your practice? It's what I call no.
Just use that. Do you ever use this when you're questioning someone? Wow.
And if someone reveals a inner secret, do you ever go with a classic what?
What? So Garcelle asked her about being a therapist, and Reba's like, I'm quitting in September. Well, how come? I'm 82. All right,
so we go to the porch. You want to sit on the porch, Einstein?
I'm 82. Jesus Christ. At least this one has the excuse of having dicks in his mouth. What's your excuse? Let's go sit on the porch.
I really need to hear from her patients. What is it like having Reba as your therapist? It's like, well, I feel really insecure and I just feel like I can't speak up when I really want, like in moments when like there's conflict, I just sort of become a shell of a person. Well, that's not my fault. It's just not helping your answer to everything.
I can actually see how Reba could be a good therapist because, look, I'm like a Gen Xer. You hear my advice, stop your fucking crying. And I think that's how she probably is. Because when she doesn't talk, she has kind of a sweet smile and she does look like she's listening to you. Her eyebrows are raised and she nods. I don't know if it's... I don't know if it's like medical, but she's like always nodding. And it's just like a Meredith. If it's medical, it's the Meredith Marks, let's just say, where she's got kind of like a just regular head bobble. So she looks like she's listening to you and she's got like a nice serene smile on her face. So I think if she doesn't talk much, you can just kind of implant whatever you want on her. You can project whatever you need her to be saying that she would be saying. I can see how she could pass as a therapist for sure.
Well, she would also be, I would love to see her as a therapist to like an obnoxious man. Like I would love to see a guy trying to go up against her and she'd be like, now what made you think that? I feel like that's the only question she would just ask over and over again. I would love to see her just take down some awful guy. But for a therapist, for me, it would be challenging. I would have a very rough time doing therapy with her.
I think it would be good for me because I'd cry and then she'd go, okay, honey, get over it. Nobody likes a crier. Okay, that'll be $100. I'd be like, oh my God, that was amazing. It's the best therapy I ever got.
So they go out.
She called me fat. Oh my God. I'd come home all giddy and just getting abused at therapy.
So Reba and Garcelle go out to the back porch and Reba's like, do you want some ice? And Garcelle goes, no, I'm good. Being tropical, I don't really have a lot of ice. Well, you are in English, that's for sure. Congrats, English people. You just caught a stray.
Like, what the fuck kind of thing is that to say? But just the reason I'm laughing so hard is because Garcelle's reaction. She goes, oh, what? And they just go sit down. She goes, well, this is so lovely. Thank you so much for indulging us. I have such an affinity for your daughter, and I think she would give you the shirt off her back. She goes, well, she would do that. She's always been like that. Unfortunately, she has terrible taste. So get the shirt off her back. You're not going to be invited anywhere. I'm going to tell you that right now.
On the other hand, she might look a little prettier without that hideous shirt. So Garcelle,
trust me, giving her the shirt off your back helps only her.
Well, I'm so happy we're having this one-on-one time together, and I wanted to talk to you because Sutton and I have had intimate conversations. And we see a month earlier, Sutton is like crying about Reba and saying that she knows that her mom loves her, but like doesn't ever feel like her mom is ever proud of her. So Garcelle says, she's so proud of how far she's come, and she would just love to hear you say you're proud and you love her too. And I feel like I can say something to that.
Well, I don't think that's any of your business.
Reba just leans in.
And she just smiles a big smile at her. And she's like, now, I don't want to insult you. I think you have no clue, honey. Okay.
Ooh, it is so devastating. You just can't say those words in a Southern accent and not be totally devastating. It's just...
It is, but Garcelle is Teflon, which I love too. And she also kind of, I think, gets what Reba's saying, because Reba's like, listen, honey, you think it's been terrifying living with me for all these years? What do you think it's been like living with Sutton all these years? And I think that Garcelle can kind of get that.
And Garcelle, I think we've been watching this moment in the previews all week. So we're like, oh my God, this is so awkward. Garcelle barely even flinches. You can see that she stiffens up a little bit, like, bitch, don't try it with me. But she also is like, I'm prepared for you. You think I can't handle you? I'm not backing down. And
she's like, I'm not scared of you.
In a very gentle and actually a very respectful way, but she does not back down. And she's like, you're right. I haven't lived with you guys. I haven't grown up with her. I don't know. You're right. I'm just coming as a caring friend. And before you lean forward and say something else that's condescending to me, I'd just like to say, no.
So you're giving me a message. Is that it? She goes, well, maybe I am. Maybe I am the messenger. There. Done.
So what do you say to that, bitch?
Yeah, good for her. And in one way, I get what Reba's saying, like, it's none of your fucking business, and it's not. But at the same time, like, I care about your kid, and you obviously have a shitty relationship, so I'm trying to help. You want me to back off? I'll back off. So I think Garcelle handled it very well, you know?
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, it really isn't Garcelle's place to have this conversation with the mom, but she's just like, fuck it. I'm going to do it because A, I'm on TV, and B, like, what? I love my friend, and her mom needs to know, and I don't care if it's awkward and impolite. I'm going to do this.
Yeah, and as someone who's lost her mother, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff you regret that wasn't communicated, you know, and it's like, I think you just get to a point where you're like, what are all these walls we build up with each other? They're so stupid. You know, they're so stupid. We just make all these invisible rules that we're not allowed to say this and we're not allowed to say that. And we're not allowed to show this feeling. Fuck it. Who cares? Let me tell you, I read a lot of books and watch a lot of TV shows. And let me tell you how they all end. People die. They all fucking die. So whatever you have to say it, you know, because your story ends the same way everybody else's does.
You know what? Too many walls have been built in between us. Too many dreams have been shattered around us. If I seem to give up, they'd still never win, because deep in my heart, I know the strength is within. That's Kathy Dennis, and she's never been more wiser.
Catherine Dennis?
Kathy, very big difference. Kathy Dennis, not Catherine.
Good for you. Catherine Dennis was always a poet. My favorite poem from Catherine Dennis was when she was like, crosswalk, fuck yourself. I ain't slowing down. Die, stupid crosswalk lady. It was kind of iambic pentameter, and I thought it was beautiful.
I liked the haiku that she did once that went, Tommy, yes, Thomas, 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 Thomas. Oh, I did one too many syllables.
Yeah, you fucked it up there at the end, but that was pretty good.
It was an extra bonus syllable. Bonus syllable just to kind of, you know.
That was a haiku plus.
It was a haiku plus. It was supersized. Because for
$4.99 extra on Peacock.
Anyway, so inside, so we cut away. Kyle comes down. If you shed a tear just now at the beauty of Catherine Dennis's poetry, you're not the only one. So Kyle, I made Ronnie chuckle. I'm done. So anyway, you guys don't know what happened in this episode. Good night, everyone.
You're just so funny because I see you counting on your fingers. Tommy, it's Tommy, it's Tommy, it's Tom.
I'm so sad that I didn't stick the landing.
Just you counting on your fingers and not knowing what to do with that extra us was really fun.
But the thing is, there was so much flexibility with the syllables because it was only one word.
All right. So Sutton comes downstairs and she's setting up the table with Avi. She's like, why don't we transfer some flowers from the living room and put them on this table? Off, move. And Kyle comes in. She's like, oh my God, everything looks so nice. Everyone here to eat. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. So everything's good, right? We're all a big happy family. Like, it's like everybody's tense but Kyle, you know?
Yeah, Kyle has no idea the subtext of anything happening in this episode. So it's like, well, Garcelle's talking to mom. It's like, So then we go back outside and Garcelle's like, I think for me, my mom being gone, that's right, I've put on a little bit of the victim cloak here so you can't come at me. I miss her so much, and I wish there were things I would have said to her. And Reba goes, well, death is final, isn't it? You can't call your mother up and say, da-da-da-da-da-da. You can't call up your mother and say, I wish you were proud of me in my stupid little boutique. Congratulations, you sell a camisole somewhere. Wow.
I can promise you, your mother didn't care about a boutique when she was here, and she doesn't give a shit about it now. Death is final, okay? Just like sales probably have to be at your store, otherwise everything would be returned over. Whoa. You're talking to me, Garcelle here. This is not Sutton. I'm sorry, dear. That was called projection. I'm a therapist.
Let me tell you what they got.
It's very hard. I've been dealing with the drama of possibly dried grits all morning.
I've got some northerner making grits out in the kitchen, doesn't know what he's doing. It's a very stressful time for me. And now I got to care about some skort that's being sold in Beverly Hills. So Garcelle is like, she's like, no. I wish I could say anything. I would give anything to do that. Yes. And so I think so. Sutton, does Sutton come out?
Yeah, Sutton's like, okay, time for brunch, guys. And Reba's like, well, we've been waiting since 8 o'clock
Because now it's got to be noon, right? So Sutton's like, well, why do you say things like that, Mom? She goes, to show you more love. To show that you've wasted 4 hours of time that I could have been giving you the love that you so apparently need.
And so she's like, ma'am, thank you for your time. Well, thank you for wasting it. This has been fun. So they clink, and she goes, you're welcome. That'll be $1,000. And Garcelle goes, hold on, wait for another trademarked. Ha!
Kyle comes out, what costs $1,000? I want to buy something that costs $1,200.
I can shop anywhere.
I can shop anywhere, even in Reba's backyard.
Every time Ben and I pass like a gas station store, we're like, oh my God, I can shop anywhere. Gas station stores, airport stores, airplanes.
I can shop anywhere. It's totally my personality. I know the one place Kyle can't shop, though. Kyle by Aileen 2.
Oh,
sad.
Burn.
I know. Never too late to diss. Never too late to diss that one.
So Garcelle's like, somewhere along the way, Reba got really hurt. She shut down. And that's what we're seeing. It may just be a dry biscuit to us, but it's the end of the world to Reba. So I know why Sutton had a relationship with her dad, and she didn't have that with her mom. And I think there might be some jealousy there. There might be some jealousy. I think that's actually pretty good. You know, maybe the mom was like, well, you liked him better anyway.
Well, and also think back earlier in the episode, she said that Reba said that she was her dad's favorite, right? So Reba, like, she both knows what it's like to be in Sutton's position, but she also is now like realizing, like, I think that she probably in some ways misses that as well, and is definitely, I do think there's probably some jealousy there. And I think it's probably hard. Like, if you are a parent and you see, like, you feel like you do everything for your child, and then you see the child is just like has a different bond with the other parent. Like, I actually can imagine that might be difficult. I'll never know because I'm not going to have a kid, but like, I'll ask my houseplants about it someday.
Here's what my houseplants say if you ask them. Please give me some water. Please. I'm so thirsty.
Yeah, I've got a houseplant, Plantasia, and she has some beautiful new blonde highlights courtesy of being ignored. She's like Manny Luck. She looks like Tina Turner now.
Okay, so now they start eating, and Reba's like, well, great color. I love this color. And she goes, well, they gave those to me because I ordered 100 napkins, Mama. So I got some flowers. So then Junebug comes in and sees the flowers and starts barking at them, which was pretty funny. She's like, move the flowers. Junebug's an idiot.
But then she's also like, isn't Reba like taking one of the nice napkins, and like pretending to do like bullfighting with June Carter? She's like, here you go, run at it. She's like waving it, and then June just goes nuts. So she's like, oh, I love these napkins you got, son. And then she immediately uses it to torture the dog.
Yeah. So then they sit down and they start having some brunch stuff. And Garcelle says, do you want me to serve? Here, do you want me to move those? Just give it to me. I'll move them. She goes, would you? Okay, that wouldn't go. Mama, it looked pretty for a second, but we're not going to be able to see each other. She goes, good. I want all of y'all to see my face. Has anybody had any of these grits? And Garcelle's like, oh, these are good. It's like, you lucked out this time, Cocoa Puff. Avi, talking to you.
Well, I loved that Garcelle is like, they're all talking about the grits. Like, oh, these grits are good.
These cream puff, right? I'm sorry. I just really like Cocoa Puffs.
Cream puff is the more standard. They could have gone
Cocoa Puffs
taken the wrong way by accident.
I was like, wow, why did I say Cocoa Puff? I guess I meant cream puff. I'm trying to think of my old Southern, anti.
You're trying to think of
to say
the way that you've been tormented in the past in the South.
Cream puff is the term. I prefer Cocoa Puffs. Okay, everybody, calm down.
So, what I liked about this scene was they're eating these grits. They're all kind of having this small talk moment because that way no one has to talk about anything. And everyone's like, Reba's saying, has anyone had the grits? And Garcelle's like, oh, these grits are good. Kyle, you didn't have any, because Kyle is clearly probably like moving the grits around because she's like, oh my God, carbs. And Kyle being put on the spot to have grits. That is, I love that in the middle of all this, Garcelle still finds a way to be petty towards Kyle. She's like, I'm going to make you eat those grits on camera, because if you don't eat those grits, Reba's going to notice now.
And Kyle does her weird voice. She's like, I'm going to eat them next. Like, fuck you. Because, grits are the most evil food that you can possibly eat. And, like, if you're trying to lose weight, those are the most, it's just cornmeal, but it's not just cornmeal. It's butter, cream, butter, cream, butter, cream, butter, cream. And then you just keep stirring in more butter and cream until it tastes good. And Kyle knows this, and she's not going to touch that shit.
Yeah. Didn't Reed just order grits like last episode at that restaurant remember that restaurant that she met Bose with? And Dorit was like, I'll have the grits, please. And it's just funny to see that there's like a grits through line happening in Beverly Hills. Oh, yeah. The last place I would expect it.
So
it's a really uninteresting observation by me.
Reba goes,
guys, let me stop. Let me stop the podcast.
Show. Grits are
stop the show. They ate grits another episode.
I have an announcement. Grits, they're back. So Reba goes, she thinks you put sugar on them. And Garcelle's like, well, some people do eat them with sugar, but I just don't get it. She goes, only northern people.
I think at this point now, Garcelle has won over Reba. This is the point where Reba realizes that Garcelle, I think that Reba, at least maybe I'm projecting this onto it. There may be no evidence for this, but I think that Reba likes the way Garcelle held her own against her, and that Garcelle understands a proper way to make grits.
That Garcelle is also mortified by Northerners and their use of sugar.
And it's like and I think that also Reba probably on a certain level really adored the way Garcelle humiliated Kyle about the grits just now. She's like, oh, that was good. I like this woman.
You can stick around. So they're talking about how pretty the house is. And Sutton's like, oh, I've loved all the houses in Augusta. They're all kind of different. The house we lived in was built in, that was 1933, Mama? She's like, 38. 38, that's what I meant, And I was thinking, I might take them by and see it. And Reba just kind of nods. And she goes, it's just around the corner. She goes, it is just around the corner. Are you trying to trigger me? It ain't going to work. I'm not going to say anything snotty.
So, you know what else is just around the corner? This wooden spoon to your head. So Sutton's like, I want to go back to my childhood home. And she says she wants to show Kyle and Garcelle where she grew up, because she loved the house, etc. But also, like she said, we always had great memories in that house until December 23rd, 2002. So this is this is so heavy. And it really does feel like, if not a Tennessee Williams play, some other like 20th century American piece of theater that we're watching unfold right now. So
this is crazy. And also 2 days before Christmas. Oh, I know. It's just so dark.
So sad. Yeah. It's
so Kyle's like, oh, so we're going to go see a house. We're going to get to go inside. I could sell it for you guys. Like I'm in real estate. So if you guys need that. And Reba's like, no, we're not going inside. Somebody lives there. And then Kyle pauses. She's like, oh, I think we're going inside. Sutton's like, well, we might ring the doorbell. Oh, whores. No, you don't do that. You don't do that.
Oh, horrors, no. She got like 50% more Southern in that moment. And so Garcelle is like, you don't want to go inside? And she goes, I'm definitely not going. No. Did you not hear me say horrors? So Sutton is basically saying, she now tells us that when her dad shot himself, Reba was home and she was in the kitchen and she knew that he was on pills and he was on Xanax and he was self-medicating. He was just in a really rough state. And she also knew that there was a loaded gun in the house. So Sutton says that she personally has some penned up resentment towards her about it. I guess she's implying that her mother should not have had the loaded gun in the house, etc. So it's dark. And Reba carries that with her too. You have to imagine, right? Even though it's not Reba's fault, but you have to imagine she probably thinks about that. Yeah. It's just all one big psychological morass.
Yeah. So Reba's like, all right, well, what's next? We've been sitting here a long time. Anybody just want to pull a baseball bat and treat me like a pinata?
Thank you. This was really, really yummy. Wasn't it yummy, Kyle? Didn't you enjoy all the grits that you ate? Oh, wait, you still haven't touched them. I'm about to eat them right now. God, stop it.
Well, I'm going to go grab my purse upstairs. And Reba's like, where are you going, Sutton? She goes, we're going to go see the house, Mama. She goes, oh, God. So Sutton's like, well, it's a lot I just said because, we're still on Sutton's confessional and the producer's saying, has your mom tried to deal with any of this? She goes, oh, no, No. And she goes, well, that's a lot I just said. We don't talk about this. It's like, well, you just gave an earful to America, so it's going to be interesting. I wish we could see the mom's reaction, maybe in the after show or something. But I don't know if the mom even watches any of this, but yes.
Sutton's like, yeah, Ma, I'll give you a full report. And Reba's like, I don't want one.
Commercials. Here comes one right now.
So then now it's time to like switch things up. We're going to go back to Los Angeles. We're in Erika's home, and there are painters there fulfilling Martin Lawrence Blah's vision. And there's construction. There's like things happening. So Erika FaceTimes Dorit, and she's like, "Oh, there you are. You ready? You ready to see what's going on? First of all, the place is a disaster, but look what's happening." And she's like,
Erika! Oh my God, the cabana's getting a facelift.
Well, the cabana's getting a whole new life. The wallpaper's going in over the weekend, but wait, a boom! Look what a little paint does to a hallway.
I love that Martin Lawrence is really leaning into the black and white prison stripes for this whole thing. You got to love someone who actually watches the show.
Yeah. So Erika's like, I've been under a microscope since the day I left Tom. And we see headlines again, in case someone has not been watching the show. And she's financially, socially, emotionally, I couldn't have done anything right. So God forbid I spend anything I make. And so now she's buying now we see footage of her buying like a Porsche and then putting a bow on it and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that Erika tried to like keep it calm for about a year. She's like,
fuck it, I'm getting a Porsche and a remodel. She's like, yeah, well, there were some people that said I shouldn't even be able to work and have money. Oh.
You know, I've always loved this tiny little house with its little stove, tiny little hot plate, and the bucket that I pee in. It's nice to live in a humble abode, but the energy has changed so much, I just can't thank Martin enough. This is huge for me to turn this $2 million house to something that's worth, I don't know, maybe $3.5 million. Oh, God, to live humbly. What a wonderful journey.
You deserve it, Erika.
Oh, thanks, honey. After 4 to almost 5 years of hell, I'm excited about life again, and I feel really good about that, because that's a signal to myself. You're returning back to normal. You get there. You're slowly making your way back to a place you recognize. Before you know it, I'll be crawling all over the floor of the thong, singing a song, and I'm not sure what the song is yet, but I'm sure there's going to be a rhyme with pussy in there. So you just watch out, Grammys. Here I go.
I'm not someone who sleeps into noon, but I was sleeping to noon, if I even got out of bed. But now I wake up at 8 in the morning and prepare for a whole day of nothing. It's exciting.
So then we go to Bose's, and Bose has a scene with her daughter, and she's like, I got her some snacks. And so she's like, oh, that's fancy. No, don't act like I don't do this for you every day. Like, okay. All right, here, let's just spread the snacks all over the couch and lie down on the couch and eat them. We'll just make the assistant over there stand there with the dustbuster.
Look at this. It's white chocolate, and that's caramel, and these are brownies, and that's some sort of donut hole, and that's some sort of cookie stick in this thing. I like to call it a tray. They all sit on it. Enjoy.
And this is such a mom thing to do, too, where you lay out all these snacks and you go, okay, here's everything. And then you eat a bite of one thing. She's like, that's not how you eat it.
You're supposed to dip it first. Come on, Lael. So, her daughter, Lael, is that how you say her name again? Lael? L-A-E-L?
I don't know. I think it's Lael.
Lael. So, or Lael. I don't know. But so she sits her down and everything, and she talks about how, they are really close because, ever since Bose's husband died, Lael's been it's been the two of them, etc. And so, Bo's asking her what's going on, and Lael's talking about she's got volleyball and friends and stuff.
It seems like they don't. I mean, they seem very close in one way, but in the other way, I think it's probably just being on TV. She's not used to being on TV, but it does seem very job interviewee. She's like, all right, well, what's been going on? She's like, volleyball, and should I dip this in? No, you don't have to dip that one. Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, your little friends. Why do you say it like that? What, your little friends? Yeah, do you want me to say your big friends? Ha ha ha! They'll kill you. I wouldn't say that to any of them, especially the one that won't touch the grits.
So Lael, she basically is asking, like, by the way, how long have you been dating Mr. Keeley? She's, 8 months. And she says, well, because you told me in December, but I didn't know you were officially dating. And then you told me you were friends and you gave me that eyebrow, like you sort of like, like, so I didn't know exactly what you meant. So you were like, so one of my friends is coming over to Ghana. She's like, girl, why are you imitating me like that? That's not how I talk.
Well, the last time I imitated how you actually do talk, I was offered the role of Mama Rose in Gypsy. So, all right, good point. Good point. Don't imitate me. So, so what are you talking about? She's like, well, I mean, I didn't know if you were dating. She goes, well, we were dating. I mean, at that point, a man is going to fly halfway across the world to see you. I would consider that dating.
So Bose tells us that Keeley kind of spontaneously showed up in Ghana. And so Bose had to tell her daughter, oh, by the way, there's a guy I've been dating who's coming to see us. And and she was like, where? Like here in Ghana? She's like, yeah. So that's pretty intense that Keeley flew all the way across to Ghana. So, but she says, things, by the way, are moving for me and for Keeley in a way that's surprising for all of us. And as you know, your mom is not a spring chicken. She's a summer chicken. I just invented that. We're going to brand it next. And Lael's like, okay. You know, at my age, it would be better for us if we wanted to have a child to do it sooner rather than later. How do you feel about that? There's only one right answer, and that it is great. I love you, mother.
She's like, well, I would feel good about it. Oh, well, why are you okay with it? Tell mama. And she's like, well, I'm trying to think of the right words. Use any words, just not the wrong ones. I'm watching you. Dip
You
it.
can start with Netflix.
Dip it.
Netflix.
Dip it. Eat it. Eat it. All right, use the right words.
Take your words and dip it into the chocolate sauce and then the caramel sauce. There you go.
She's like, well, I'm going to be leaving and then you won't have a kid to raise anymore. Oh, kids. Kids are so cute. Just thinking, oh my God, what would my mother do if they didn't have me around anymore? Let me tell you, Coke, Franzia, fucking tennis instructors. Get the fuck out of here. You ain't the center of the universe.
Do you want me to have a kid because you're afraid I'll be lonely? And she's like, well, I think our bond is changing, and not in a bad way, but in an evolving way. And now I want you to share that bond with someone else. What I'm trying to say is, you're too much for me, mother. Oh. She's like,
maybe
please
I'll
have a
get
kid.
more air if there's another person you could be suffocating.
Well, I'm shocked by this response. I didn't even know how she came up to this. There wasn't even a PowerPoint involved. Where is my baby that threw a tantrum when I suggested there would be another sibling? Where has she gone? So she goes, what about Keeley? Well, I think I did it backwards. You know, would you accept a baby? Would you accept Keeley? Ha 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 ha. Accept them both. So she's like, oh, yeah, okay, well, fine. That's great, Mom. Okay. So, TLDR, you don't know how to dip snacks and you're okay with me having a baby. Got it.
Still have little friends. The end. So back in Augusta, they are going to the house. And so they're saying bye to Reba. And Sutton's like, wow, she can talk. And Kyle's like, I am obsessed with your mom. Love her.
Sutton, Garcelle, and Avi are like just shaking their heads.
Like,
So-
Kyle comes and takes the mom's side immediately. So Kyle's like, these people are expecting us, right? And Sutton says, yeah, my good friend who knows the current owners arranged it. So we're going to be good. We're going to be good, guys. Now, this was the hill. We would ride our bikes down this hill. It just seemed so big at the time. So big. But now look at it. It's just not such a big hill.
This is like a scene out of like Forrest Gump. No, it's not. So Garcelle is like, it's literally nothing like Forrest Gump. There's just a hill. Like, I don't know, was there a famous hill scene in Forrest Gump? So Garcelle says, this is the part of the trip I'm not looking forward to because it's the last place she saw her dad. And I don't know what the emotions are going to be like. And that scares me. So then they pull up to this house. And there's this like sweet family that's there and everything. And it's this lady and they say hello. And Garcelle and Sutton is now getting understandably kind of spooked out, and she's getting nervous and she's getting choked up. Like it's pretty intense right off
This
the bat.
is intense. It reminded me of that Married to Medicine where they went to Heavenly's childhood.
I thought that.
Oh my
I
God,
thought
that
the
was
exact
so
same
rough.
scene.
And she's like, "This was my room. I didn't have any windows." And I mean, it was just so sad. She was like locked in her room. I mean, it was just so sad. Okay, so anyway, so I'm already sad because this story is sad, plus the heavenly memories in there. So anyway, they go up and they meet the owner and they go in to start seeing it. And she's like, "I'm setting Strack. Nice to meet you, Maureen. I'm just going to warn you, there might be some tears." And Maureen's like, "It's okay. Just walk through the house. Take as much time as you can. Just, you're wearing running mascara. Just stay away from the white couch. That's all I request of you." All right.
Maureen's like, "Listen, I just watched This Is Us last night, so don't even worry about tears. They have been flowing for 24 hours.
Hello there. This is a 2-part recap, okay? This is the end of part 1. So thank you so much for listening to this. Just come back a little later for part 2.
Watch What Crappens would like to thank its premium sponsors. Ain't no thing like Allison King.
Our way is the Amber way.
It's the Foster and the Furious. It's Amanda Foster.
It's always automatic with Ashley Auto.
Ashley Savoni, she don't take no baloney.
Put your hands together for Carly Clapp.
Catherine DiBernardo has our hardo.
Get on the right foot with Chrissy Offutt. Dana C. Dana Do. We never miss her call. It's Diane Call.
Aaron McNicholas, she don't miss no trickolas. Jamie, she has no last namey. You'll never hide from Heidi Eleanor Jones.
I go, you go, we all go for Hugo.
Hava Nagila Weber.
We could all learn from Jennifer Kearns.
She's our kind of mess. It's Jennifer Messer.
Sip some scotch with Jessica Trotch.
Knock, knock, knocking on Katie Manock's door.
She's our favorite streamer, Caroline Peacock.
Kristen the Piston Anderson. Get a bee in your bonnet with Lacey B.
Bringing the funk, it's Leslie Plunkett.
She gets an A from us. It's Lindsay D. Let's give a kisserino to Lisa Lino. Fresh as a daisy, it's Maisie McEnTerror. We love her on the rocks. It's Melissa Cox. Megan Berg. You can't have a burger without the Berg.
This is Living with Michelle Vivian.
I love ya, Olivia Williamson. Tastier than Flanderson, it's Rachel Manderson.
She sure is swell. It's Raquel.
Yes, we canna, it's Savannah.
Cast a spell with Shannon Spellman.
Let's share with Sharon Eldridge.
The Bay Area Betches.
And our super premium sponsors. She's VVIP, it's Amanda V.
Somebody get us 10 cc's of Betsy MD.
She's got a leg up. It's Beth Ani.
We're taking the gold with Brenda Silva.
Let's get real with Caitlin O'Neill.
Don't get salty with Christine Pepper. Can't have a meal without the Emily Sides.
Who, what, why, where, and Gwen Pentland.
It's our queen, it's Queen Laifa.
Nobody holds a candle to Jamie Kendall.
Know your worth with Jason Kurth.
We got our wish, it's Jen Plish.
She's not harsh, she's Jill Hirsch.
She's a little bit loony. Junie. My favorite Murdo, Karen McMurdo. We love him madly, it's Kyle Pod Shadley.
We're ride or die for Lisa Ryder Barron.
She's a whiz, it's Liz Sarthy.
Always killing it, it's Lola Alkalani.
The incredible edible Matthews sisters. She eases our woes, it's Melissa St. Rose.
Give him hell, Miss Noel. She's the queen bee, it's Sarah Lemke. Shannon, out of a cannon, Anthony. Let's take off with Tamla Plain.
She ain't no shrinking Violet Couture. We love you guys.